Okay guys, so hopefully you can hear me okay. There's a little bit of gardening going on behind me, but in a previous video I had been talking about how I had a renter who paid a premium rate on one of my cars but had a bad review for smoking in the car and bringing it back dirty, and at what point does Turo remove renters like that from the platform? So in my case, I decided to move forward with the risk of my car coming back, either really dirty or smoked in, because I found that the premium day rate was worth it, and Turo's policies are very good in these types of scenarios. Well, that car just came back, so let's take a look and figure out if this renter was a reformed renter from her last experience, or maybe she wasn't. And in her last experience, based on the review that the host left, so thank you to that host for leaving that detailed review, she did get hit with the smoking fees and charges for cleaning because of the condition of the car. So let's see if that's going to be my situation. Okay, so here's the car. Let's open it up. Okay, so you can almost instantly, just from first sight, tell that there's obviously smoking in the car. There's ash everywhere, and whatever this stuff is that's spilled, just trash right here. Clear signs, that's backwoods, so that's the stuff that they roll blunts in, candy in the pockets. And why do people do this where they have the seatbelts plugged in like that? I just don't understand. So many of my cars come back like that. It's wild. There's ash all over the dash. You can actually see remnants of weed in the cup holder. I mean, it's filthy. Let's go around to the other side. Let's take a look at how the passenger side looks. Oh, yeah. So definitely not a reformed renter at all. I mean, that is just filthy. They only had this car for, I think it was 2 days or 3 days. And so they definitely did a number on it. So that's gonna be fun to get this cleaned up. Definitely have to get it ozoned again. But yeah, you can just kind of see the remnants of ash. There's some more weed right there. So that's why it's really important to take very clear photos. Stuff looks like some kind of a sticky drink that's spilled all over. My seats are pretty dirty. Ooh, it's definitely gonna be a cleaning job. Okay, so I often get messages from people who kind of complain that they weren't approved for their smoking fees, and it's maybe either because you forgot to take pictures before the trip started and then the car came back kind of looking like this one, or you didn't take post-trip photos. I mean, it's just like a combination of things that could happen as to why you don't get approved for the smoking fees. And then of course it's really hard to get approved for that if there are no signs of smoking in the car. That is very, 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 very rare. I would say that's only happened to me maybe 5 times in sort of the lifetime of having smoking reimbursement fees that I've requested for. So it's incredibly rare where people will smoke in your car and then they try to hide the evidence. It has to be a really smart renter who kind of knows the system to do something like that. So you want to make sure that you are really properly documenting your pre-trip photos and your post-trip photos. You can't make the assumption that as a host, why would I give my car dirty to somebody? So obviously if it comes back with smoke in it, that's not how I gave it. You would be very surprised with the type of cars that are out there and the way that hosts let their cars go out on trips. And I say this personally, speaking from experience. A couple years ago, I believe it was a Camaro that I rented on the platform. When I got the Camaro for my weekend trip to San Diego, it was covered in cigarette ash. It was disgusting, to the point where before I left on my trip, I took it to the car wash and I had to clean the whole thing because it was literally like the dashboard and everything covered in ash, and it had a black interior. So it was apparent that there was cigarette ash everywhere. So I don't know if it was the host who smoked cigarettes or if it was a previous renter. Whatever the case was, that is how that host let the car go out on a trip. So when you do have your cars going out on the trip, it is Turo's policy. I mean, honestly, you really shouldn't be a host on the platform if you're not going to familiarize yourself with the policies and then follow them, because you really have no merit to complain if you're not taking the steps to follow the system. Because when you compete in a marketplace, you have to remember you're playing by someone else's rules. Whatever they might be, you are still there by choice, right? And if you're there by choice, you want to do yourself a favor and really understand what the systems and policies are so that you can follow them to a T, so that you don't run into issues like not being able to get your smoking reimbursements. I don't think I've ever had a situation where I've made a claim for smoking and I didn't get the reimbursement because of lack of evidence, because if I don't have the evidence, I'm not making the claim. I already know that Turo's not going to approve it just because I said that someone smoked in my car. That's not how the system works. The system is solely based off of photographic evidence. So you have to make sure that you document it really, really well pre and post trip so that they can look at it and then you won't run into that issue. So I'm going to do a little screen record. Oh, there's an ant on me. Of how I take photos. I've actually already done it. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like and how to really get clear pictures of the evidence that's in the car. So let's take a look. All right, so that's how you want to take the pictures. You want to make sure that they're really clear and that your camera is focused in. And if you don't have a good phone to take photos with, it's literally one of the best investments that you can make when doing something like Turo. I highly, highly recommend the iPhone 11 because it has that really good night mode. It has just an excellent level of clarity when taking photos, and so you want to make sure that you really grab all that evidence. Now in this car, the evidence is very apparent, super obvious, so it's very easy to photograph, and that's not always the case. When that is not always the case, you really have to get down to the nitty-gritty. You want to make sure you're pulling out your mats. You want to make sure that you're looking down in the crevices of your seats to make sure you can find the areas where ash is prevalent, because ash is very hard to get out. So most people are not able to do it. And if they are smoking in the car, you will find it if you look for it. So you have to really kind of take the time and do a thorough job at finding the evidence so that you can document it in a timely manner and then submit the smoking reimbursement request. And I promise you, if you do the proper check-in and check-out, you will always get approved for it if the photographic evidence is there. And that has always been my experience. All right, so on that note, the question still stands. At what point does Turo take a low quality renter like this off the platform, right? People like this, they destroy cars. And to rehabilitate these cars, it takes some time as a host. And maybe a lot of hosts don't have that type of time. So if most hosts are not really going out of their way to rehabilitate their car, it's going to lower the quality of the car, which is going to lower the quality of experience for the next renter. And maybe that's going to deter repeat rentals on the platform because people aren't having a good experience because the car smells like weed, or or, you know, it's just way too hard to get all the ash out. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. Now, this is strike 2 for this renter. She's gonna get an awful rating from me. She already got a bad rating from the previous host. Will she be able to rent again? I don't know. And then again, in a car like this where the evidence is really clear, like, you know, they had the seatbelt buckled in. They're obviously smoking in the car, which is illegal to drive and smoke and be high. And it's not cigarettes, it's clearly weed, right? So we have all the obvious evidence here that this is an irresponsible renter who is taking part in an activity that is not legal, even though weed is legal here in California, but you still can't drive and smoke. So I don't know, how do they determine what that risk factor is, and how do they serve better quality renters to the host? If we're expected to provide great quality 5-star experiences on the platform, we should also expect to get great renters as well. It's one thing, I think, if it's a first-time renter, then of course, how do you know? But in this situation where it is somebody who does have an awful rating, who did, you know, get dinged for smoking in the car, where there is an abundance of photographic evidence, isn't it time that we kick her off the platform so another host doesn't have to experience this? Imagine if this was somebody's car who is a first-time host on the platform. Imagine if this is their very first trip with, you know, their personal vehicle that they're only renting out part-time. This is definitely going to deter somebody who could have been an excellent host on the platform to maybe not rent their car again because of the bad experience. So how do we prevent that and make the marketplace a better place to do business, a better place for renters and for hosts, where we want to continue to offer better cars, offer better experiences, better quality, better value? That's the question. All right, you guys, I'm gonna go get this puppy cleaned, and I guess I'll do an after video once it's all clean and ready to go on to another trip, so you guys can see what it looks like. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye guys. Okay guys, so the car is all nice and clean, so let's take a look and then I'll share some parting thoughts with you guys. Go to a car wash that has one of these. It's literally the best, especially when you have ash in crevices like the buttons and inside these hard to reach places right here. Will literally just get everything out, especially when you're dealing with ash. You don't want to leave ash behind because that's the stuff that really smells. And so it's really the air pressure tool that's going to allow you to get into the sides, like this area right here, and get everything out, and especially in between the seats where you definitely want to spray inside there, because a lot of ash tends to get stuck in the vents as well. So you want to make sure you blow all of that out so it's really nice and clean. Okay, so before I go, I want to leave you guys with some parting thoughts. And I think that this really goes for anything in life, doesn't matter what you're doing. But bad quality always has a compounding domino effect. No matter where it's taking place, there is more to it than just this one-time instance of where I had a bad renter and it didn't go so well, right? So what's going to happen probably in a scenario like this, because she's somebody who has been on the platform, is I'm going to request for the cleaning fee and the smoking fee, and she's not going to be too happy about it. In turn, it's highly likely that I'm going to get a bad review from her because she doesn't want to pay those extra fees. And then I'm also going to leave her a bad review. So other hosts are going to see that she's not a good renter. But in this situation, I'm unfairly going to get a bad review as well because she doesn't want to pay for the trouble that she's caused. So for a really great host like me, who really maintains cars well, provides a great experience, I have an unfair rating, which might in the future lead someone else who's looking to rent to say, oh, maybe not. If a great host like that, who does have so many trips, has bad reviews too, then maybe this isn't the platform for me. So overall, when a bad renter continues to rent on the platform, it's not good for anybody. It's not good for Turo. It's not good for the host. It's not good for the renter. And it's not good for the future of the platform, especially when there are ratings being left that are unjust in this situation. So there is that domino effect. And again, the question remains, at what point is a renter like this no longer able to rent on the platform. So if anyone has the answer to that, let me know. All right, you guys, on that note, that's it for me. Thank you again so much, everyone, to everyone who comments in the comment section. You guys help me get questions answered. I really appreciate it. My time has been so limited lately, so I really haven't had a chance to get back to a lot of the questions. I'm working on this membership, which is starting September 21st. If you want to opt in to be the first to know, go to saimahsexperience.com, drop me your email, and I'll be in touch with you as soon as it goes live. September 21st. I'll be sharing all my tips and secrets with how I run a really successful Turo business. And on that note, guys, I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for watching. Bye.